Good morning, good noon, good evening. Whatever time and place you're listening to us from, straight from the 909, it's Mark, Andre, Isaiah. Together, that's hip-hop.
That's hip-hop.
Try to throw it a little different time.
Try to curveball it this time, you know what I'm saying?
All right, so today we are covering the master poet lyricist whose moniker rings true, and that's Mr. MC Wordsworth.
Wordsworth.
This was a suggestion from Mark. So Mark gets some credit for
I
Wordsworth on.
finally got the tribe tour T-shirt on.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, man. It looks like it's
Still preserved
yeah,
after all
it's
these
like
years,
really
right?
new.
You're like, it looks old. It looks was it vintage that they're saying? It's a
vintage.
They're calling vintage T-shirts now. This is a vintage piece.
Hand washed
Outta
for the
here.
last decade, yo. Hand washed. Delicate.
So at Rock the Bells, this is the first thing that I saw because they actually gave you the tour T-shirts as the VIP package.
Yeah.
But I went to the Gorilla Union gift shop, and they actually had this, and I was just like, bro, I gotta get that. I gotta get that in a large. Gotta make it happen. Yeah. And it was one of the best purchases I've made.
Purchase his hands, quote.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't seen you wear the shirt. Have you worn it at all since?
No, I've worn it quite a few
Oh,
times.
yeah, definitely.
Worn it quite a few times.
I mean, he's probably been on stage with this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Dope, man.
Yeah, man.
Good looks on bringing it out today,
yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Show
And,
special occasion.
Kind of down in the dumps, guys. I'm glad you guys are consoling me. The Knicks fever has died down.
A continuation onto the Low End Theory episode. Where, Mark was really hyped to the Knicks, pulling through. It was a close game. It was a good effort.
Yeah.
You guys, were in it.
I appreciate Isaiah consoling me throughout the whole time.
You guys were in it.
Yeah.
That's your consolation.
Yeah. He's like,
you
they're
guys
there.
were. They're there. You guys were
They're
in
there.
there. You were there.
Yeah.
You attended.
Yeah. So
I
cheers,
want. Yeah,
cheers to you.
exactly.
Cheers.
If it makes you feeling any better, out of the three opponents, the four total, I'd want LA to win it because it'll make the older brother happy.
Sure,
it'll
that's
make
right.
you happy. So
Yeah, sure.
we're all
I mean,
good with
I
that.
want that to happen, and they're playing right now, actually. But you know what? I'm just trusting and believing that they're going to do their thing tonight.
Oh, of course. Yeah. God exists.
May I say something to start off with this the gentleman that we're
go ahead.
taking.
Go
Oh
ahead,
yeah.
man.
Let's dive in.
So when you pick an MC name, there's a lot that goes with it sometimes.
True.
In this instance, a gentleman decides to call himself Wordsworth, a rapper. We all three of us understand the responsibility that takes.
That's top shelf, man.
You
Yes.
are setting yourself up for a lot to be sought after.
Yeah, but the name implies longevity, though.
Yeah.
I mean, he is literally the worth
I
of
like
words themselves,
Yeah.
or a word's literal worth, which is like, it's a very powerful statement as an artist, as an MC. you know?
Yeah, it's just like Genius, like Jizza. It's like you have that kind of name. It's like you got to show out.
Yeah, but not only show out, but represent,
And represent.
the name that you birthed yourself as.
Right,
As
true.
an MC, you birth yourself in a sense, and this is his superhero name in a weird way.
Yeah.
But Wordsworth to me is like, it's weird. Wordsworth has always been there.
Yeah, because he's already taken it from William Wordsworth already off the jump.
Yeah, the poet.
But now he's still like, heck yeah, I'll call myself Wordsworth. Like,
And
to me,
elevate
I
his
like-
status even further.
yeah. So it runs deep.
Oh no, it's past deep, man. I mean, okay. If we can just get there, because we're just gonna
let's
dive
do it.
into the Wordsworth concept. It's like, how did you find Wordsworth?
I ended up hearing him on the Black Star album twice in a lifetime. When he shows up, he's like, the one line that really stuck out with me, he's like, I'm fitting all stereotypes, Sony or Iowa, black or white. Like when he says that, I'm like, oh man, dude, this guy is actually Wordsworth, like to the supreme.
Yeah.
And then I ended up getting that Lyricist Lounge Volume 1 album, hearing him on it. I end up seeing him on the Freestyle Art of Rhyme. He actually has his own little freestyle, freestyle that he does on there too. So Wordsworth is kind of like this presence around hip hop, New York hip hop around the early 2000s, and the mid '90s. So it was just always something that he would be there in the right places. Yeah. And I ended up seeing him. I ended up hearing him on that Twice in a Lifetime with him and Punchline as well. So it Homeboy was nice, man.
Yeah, you guys put me on, Lyricist Lounge, and we were just talking about it a little bit before the show because there was like 2 different Lyricist Lounge tiers from what I understand. But, Mark's explained to this, and I'm like, huh? Like making it much more confusing than what it actually is.
It's like a foreign concept to him.
Hey, man, we're here to...
So there's 2 Lyricist Lounges? They're not the same thing?
It's just not a big lounge. There's 2 separate
smaller
lounges.
Just sub lounge.
So then I had just more questions. So who's on the Lyricist Lounge? And he's like, well, there's artists at the time, and
we ended up using the whiteboard that he has off camera. Right. Using like connections and pieces of yarn that connect names.
Right.
So ended up being a big mystery solved.
But one of the cool things about Wordsworth that I learned recently is that he did a television series, unlike anything that I've seen, at least, where you have a combination of like hip hop rhyming while it's also comedy at the same time. Mm-hmm. Like that's pretty cool to combine the two. I don't see that very commonly done.
Especially because hip hop is like a definition of cool, right?
Yeah.
And cool and comedy can be very difficult to marry.
Right.
And Lyricist Lounge is one of the better examples of seeing that marriage.
Yeah.
It's just part of that, especially at that time when it first came out. Oh my God. Like I saw it when it was out, and it's just, it was one of those shows that really, it's like, I say it's Def Comedy Jam and Def Poetry Jam in the same spot. And it was like an innovative idea at the time, but it was too early. So it didn't go any further than like a season or 2.
Yeah.
But it was extraordinary. It was extraordinary for its time. So, to have Wordsworth on there and just, be a part of that ensemble of MCs and artists, he's dope, man. But the weirder part about Wordsworth is he's like on your favorite MC's features. He's like, he's just in this spot, just like Mark was saying, he just has a presence. Mm-hmm. I didn't hear Wordsworth directly through his album until Mark suggested it. But when I was listening to him, I was like, I know exactly who this is. And I went to all the songs. I was like, he's the guy that's on the feature with Tone Deaf on one of Tone Deaf's albums. And they just do all these quotables. And it's incredible. It's a credible concept. Tone Deaf is known for his concept. So to get Wordsworth on his concept and they match their concept perfectly, I was good with him. And then Master Ace. I rolled with Master Ace, right? And then Mark rolled with Wordsworth. But you'll see that they're in the same spaces and they're on a lot of each other's tracks. And Master Ace, verbally and vocally and rhyme-wise, has similarities to Wordsworth as well. They kind of trade off techniques. Like they train, it's like Ryu and Ken.
So much. I don't know who came first, but
who came first, Ryu or Ken? Ryu or Ken, right? Yeah. So, they both kind of have that and they have similar movesets, but they do their own thing individually. Yeah. So I roll with Wordsworth. As I was listening to the album, I was like, shit, I know exactly who this guy is. Yeah. It wasn't like I'm not familiar with him. It was like, I know exactly who he is. I know this guy. He was in places on the feature side that I know about. He was kind of like a Cannabis in a weird way. He just had the right features. But as far as the album, I know I listened to it way like a long time ago for studying, but I didn't keep it in my head. So when I was listening back to it, I was like, oh, I remember this. I've been here before, But it's a welcome idea to bring it to Zay as well. Because, Zay didn't know about Wordsworth.
Because now we get to hear it, we get the new impressions all over again.
Yeah. After covering Elzai and coming to Wordsworth, there's similarities to them as well. It's just incredible concepts, incredible visualizations with their words. Yeah. They just have a great way of describing something.
Yeah, with incredible rhyme detail too. Same fashion as Master Ace. But with this album, you get a lot of description within each verse, and each verse within all the tracks have a story to tell. And I think that's what Wordsworth was trying to get off in Mirror Music.
Yeah. So Mirror Music was released August 24th, 2004 by Half Tooth Records. And there was a lot of producers on this. This is too many to name, but one I will just name off the top was Ayatollah. And there was DJs, mastering, engineering going on here.
Odyssey, don't forget Odyssey.
Odyssey is a good one to point out. And I think, for this album, the story to me here is that freestylers weren't really known at the time to be able to make good music songs, so that was kind of the stigma. If you were a freestyler at that time, like 2004 when this was dropped, you weren't really known to be able to do it and actually come and put together, some structure, make actually good music. But I think Wordsworth was one of those cats that like proved the game wrong, and he was able to do that, and he probably was aware and knew of that concept.
And it took this solo effort to debunk all that. Yeah. Because you have all the features, but those aren't a full-fledged song.
Yeah.
But then you have this whole album, and his style goes from many different areas. He gives you all lyricism. He gives you a very dense story. He actually gives you about 4 or 5 dense stories.
Yeah.
And that's him going, to me, I think that was him going easy, because I feel that there was a lot that Wordsworth could have done within this album. Like from start to finish, he could probably done a one giant story if he wanted to.
Yeah.
But the variety of this whole album of mirror music, you as a hip hop enthusiast, you get extremely satisfied with an album like this.
Yeah, you do.
And the other thing is, though, on top of everything that he's capable of, his storytelling is coded in deep metaphor, right? I mean, a lot of times we tell a story and then we can get to the point, but he reminds me of Nas in that ability to bury a story that sounds normal, but he just completely buries it in visualizations and metaphors, man. He's just a breath of fresh air, but it feels like a breath of fresh air that we didn't take, Wordsworth is known, but it almost feels like benefit. Like he has this classic project, and nobody in my circle talked about Wordsworth.
No.
Even I rap with Mark. He didn't even bring up Wordsworth, So it's like, I never sat down and had a full conversation of Wordsworth. You feel me? It's like, this is the moment.
Well, damn it, let's put him on.
Let's put him on, man. So let's go, man. Right now, man. Because what was our 3?
It was Right Now, 12 Months.
And Run.
And Run.
Yeah.
And Run.
So we could really run with that.
And I can say, too, that those 3 give you a great variety pack kind of sample of this whole album.
Punchline track, storytelling track, concept storytelling, just layered telling, Nas style storytelling, Elzai style storytelling. It's really brilliant shit, man. Right now, though, it's like the door is getting kicked down. You feel me?
Yep.
And before we get into it, though, we usually talk about the album cover. Album cover isn't exactly something big to talk about, straight up traditional album cover, but the Wordsworth and mirror music, the W's and the M's are mirrored.
Yeah. All the letters are
aligned.
They match up as far as numerically the same amount of letters too. But where the W and the M meet up.
Yes.
Yeah.
So WW.
I see it as this is a mirror music, so it's self-reflection. So all these tracks are in a way kind of self-reflecting too. You're looking at yourself, and each track, I was identifying it. I was like, okay, he's looking introspectively at himself, and that was pretty dope. When he put all that together, I'm like, okay, this is one of those albums where, like, if I want to look inside and, like, how am I going to mentally handle all these things in life that come up? This is what this album does. It tackles those things mentally.
It looks like the best way to put this album in my mind is like a photo album. And the photo album has pictures you're familiar with, but the detail in every shot is so much greater than what you hear from a normal MC. It's not just a shot of people in the street struggling. Yeah. It's like a perfect shot of it. It's like, wow, very well detailed.
Or even like imagine you're digging through a bunch of Polaroids,
right?
And people are like, "Oh, what happened here?" Yeah. And they only see the image of it, but then it's Wordsworth describing all of it from start to finish.
And it's funny you say that because like this dropped in 2004, right? But it almost kind of sounds like it dropped mid 90s. Like the sound of it sounds mid 90s.
But he's
2004,
and he's using techniques, rhyme techniques and flow techniques that would follow years later, right? So his technique is ahead of his time, but his writing is reminiscent of the past, right? Yeah. It's really, really solid. Like his the way he structures his words, everything is spread out perfectly. It's like Cameron, but faster. Like Cameron's is slow, articulated, and everything rhymes. Everything's fine. Everything's nice, right? But Wordsworth is accented. Everything's fine. Everything's nice. Like he hits every single syllable and accents every single sound perfectly. Leaving that perfect amount of space. You might hear a better example of that in J. Cole Today. like the new J. Cole, the best J. Cole. All of his rhymes are very dense, but they're very articulated and spread out. You know, a lot of the cats in this period will even use Cannabis, right? Cannabis is actually perfect for this example. Cannabis is he's like a bombardment of rhymes and sounds, right? And sometimes he just might not be aligned to the music perfectly. Whereas Wordsworth sounds like he knows the instrumentation and he knows exactly where his words are going to land in the beat. Nothing ever really bleeds past the bar line. He's always in there, man. His pockets are perfect.
And it's not even playing it safe. A lot of rappers would be like, "Oh, I want to play it safe and actually meet the end of the bar." But when you do that, sometimes you're gonna be you'll be prone to that weakness because then you'll finish too early.
Right.
In this instance, Wordsworth is always right at the end of the beat, even so much so that he'll use the sample as the chorus, and he'll like intertwine with it. Yeah. He'll intertwine with the actual sample that he has and use it as a chorus. And even with Right Now, as we get into it, he even does that as well.
Right now, you're privileged. My freestyle and phenomenal writtens gives you a conflict of interest. That's 5 syllables, bro. That's hard. Like, you know, a lot of people gave Eminem praise on the Eminem show for like rhyming. When I talk about rhymes, it's like numbers to me. So if you're rhyming 5 syllables at the end of the bar line, then I'm gonna call it a 5. Yeah. So Eminem got a lot of praise for Eminem show for rhyming 5s and 6s and 7s and 8s. He was going crazy, right? Yeah. You know, some 3s here and there, right? Your typical rhymer around this period of time when they were pushing it and really trying to rhyme to the next level, they were rhyming 3s and 4s, right? He already started with 5 syllables like it was nothing, right? And you got it.
Even off of what he starts off with, like I like the fact that he also starts off with the title track. Mm-hmm. Not a lot of people do that, and I kind of like that kind of consistency.
Oh, it's hard. It's hard. That shit hit me hard. Like pause. It was just a bombardment of bars, but I have a personal philosophy, and it's just your first track has to, especially if this is your first effort. This is the first time us seeing you. You got to hit them, or at least give them something that shows that I have the technical prowess and skill for you to enjoy this experience. You know what I'm saying? And this track, just like all of our favorite projects up to this point, always have a great first or second track, right? Mm-hmm. And usually the second track is the actual first track. So the first time you hear them really rapping, that's where you get just an incredible display of technique and skill, and then you'll get followed up with the storytelling and all the other shit, the pop shit, whatever you're looking for. Yeah. This one is just a bombardment of rhyme schemes and flows. Like, it felt like a flow test.
Yeah, he even takes the pattern and then he says something to the effect of the inches line is so far in distance, you think up ahead's a car collision.
Yes.
Like, oh, man. Yeah. He keeps...
That I smashed a celebrity's integrity, believe it's fact, not allegedly. Come on. Like, and as far as how he lands on these beats, man, though he lives on that shit, man. It sounds like he made the beat himself almost. As far as how he does his cadences and rhymes, though, nothing is out of pocket and nothing is broken. You know, okay, so conflict of interest, right, at the beginning, we were just talking about it. Conflict of interest, far in the distance, right? Perfect match. Mm-hmm. Then he goes to car collision, right? He cuts a syllable off, but everything timing-wise is perfectly on rhythm. So he knows where to play with the sounds, man. Like, this is some shit that if you really want to refine the rhyme style you have, this is a perfect one, man. Mark pulled a gem out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm. I think, you know, that's one of the things that attracts me to Wordsworth in this album is because there was some hit and misses for me as far as production-wise. I know there's a lot of producers and stuff on this, but some of the production didn't sound as strong as like some of the ones like this first track did. Sound really strong. But to me, that doesn't really matter because what's attracting me is the beautifully weaving like lyrics that he does. That's what attracts me. Yeah. And that's what's undeniable here because in every track he's giving you lyricism, storytelling, and it's masterful. It's not just, you know, whatever. Like he really goes in, and unlike anybody I've heard do it.
Right, his setups are punchlines.
Yeah.
Right, like usually, you know, if you're rhyming, everybody thinks in couplets, or if you're like, you know, basic, you're thinking in couplets. First line, I set you up. Next line, I punch you. Right. Wordsworth, his setups are the punches. Right. This one's right here. Murder y'all professionally, no hype man next to me. Right. That's actually the setup. Right. That only puts him in jeopardy of being an accessory to the murder he committed. So, I mean, the setup itself is an uppercut, man. And then the next one is going to punch you right back down. So, as far as what Wordsworth is capable of, man, he's going to display this shit on another level on the first track. But everything afterwards, I feel like his storytelling must be noted. It's on a Nas level. His storytelling is very, very descriptive. But other MCs can tell a story. That's just what we do, right? It's about how you can put a concept inside of the song. Yeah. And if you have the concept in there, it keeps you coming back to listen to it so you can take more gems out of it, right?
And I think where Wordsworth actually takes the cake on a lot of storytelling songs is that he could still take the same rhyme pattern
and run it through the whole verse.
Everything descriptive. He could be talking about cars. He could talk about murders. He's even talking, in this instance, he's even talking about distances, car collisions in inches. Like, he's just all making that sound cohesive.
Very cohesive. I like this line. The radio adds to the ratio of being
confrontational.
Like, hear those vibrations. The radio adds to the ratio of being confrontational. Yeah. Like, that is just, to me, that's just, it sounds different the way he does it.
But
like,
he's also, he's calling out the game too.
Right.
You know, so it's something. Oh my God, Genius is talking. Genius, be quiet. Genius, we're doing a podcast.
They're trying to take more of our shit.
I know.
They just want to win. They just want everything.
My concerts pay per views, capable of enraging you to drive a car, truck with the bomb taped to you.
But okay, so look, it sounds like cannabis, right? Mm-hmm. It sounds like cannabis, but the approach to the punches,
slow dance.
It's like a slow dance.
Slow dance version.
So cannabis is kicking your door down, screaming at you, bro, and that's what he was supposed to do. That's just the energy of the period, right? To me, Wordsworth is like, I'm actually so clever. I'm gonna sit here and talk shit about you, and that's it. I'm gonna talk about you, and I don't need to pull a gun out. I don't need to be aggressive. The rhymes themselves, they come off as a lecture more than cannabis punching you in the face with words.
It almost feels improv a bit, the way he's building it slowly, like up on you, almost like it was improvisational.
Put your arms up, got you raising your hands like you confused about the rules before you take an exam, baby. That shit is nice,
and
man.
With that same rhyme pattern, he gives you other examples of raising your hand.
Like your left one's on the Bible before taking the stand. Yeah. So he just kept the imagery going. He extends the metaphor, right? After the punches landed, there's another arm after that. It's like Goro's arms or something. You feel me? But to me, it's like technology that people don't. We're taking this shit for granted now. Yeah. But I'm always about the era that we heard it from, right? You would probably hear this in 2007, 2008 music and certain MCs, right? I just feel like me personally, I feel like I just let Wordsworth go to the side. I was on Master Ace's side. But Mark, I don't know, why did you bring him up, man? It's so funny that like we rapped together. He never brought this fool up, man.
He was very strong about it last week too.
I wanted to because
he's adamant about it, right?
I honestly feel, and this is just my opinion, but Wordsworth is one of those guys that like needs to get his props, you know. True. And it's something that doesn't come up on the fan side. Yeah.
It's highly underrated.
Yeah, it's more of like what Andre mentioned about Elzai. Elzai is always going to be the rapper's favorite rapper. Right, yeah. Where I think a lot of people on the actual hip hop industry side are always going to throw Wordsworth in like easily because of projects like this, because of features like that.
He was with dudes like from Tribe. He was with dudes like Mos Def, like you were saying. Right. He was around like the dudes. He was around them.
So it's an album that I personally bought. Again, like I've taken many trips to the Virgin Megastore, rest in peace, Virgin Megastore. Yes. But so I ended up hearing that this album was, it came out, and I think this is 2005, 2006. So this album came out in 2004, and I'm like, oh, wait, that dude Wordsworth actually came out with this album. And then that's when I was like, oh shit, like people are actually talking like, giving mad praise to this album. So I bought it and I listened. I was like, shit, like Wordsworth is more, you end up uncovering the fact that he's more than a feature. He's more than what was given to us via, tracks from Black Star, A Tribe Called Quest, and Love Movement. Right. And what Tone you Deaf. Saw on the Lyricist Lounge album.
I'm still tripping about Tone him doing album. A TV show. Like, I'm still tripping about that. Because if you're that good to freaking write rhymes in a TV show that's interweaving with comedy.
Yeah.
Like that's another level, dude.
That means you can go past the rhymes themselves.
Yeah, that's another level.
I'll go to the lyric part where it says, where it actually finishes off, looks like a petition was signed.
Yeah.
I'm on that line right there. I'm on it right now.
I was just like,
okay, so once again,
let's talk about that.
It's a 4-syllable swing, right? Okay. Some listeners rhyme, but after they listen to mine, the list to resign looks like petition was signed, right? So that's 4 syllables, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? But he swings it all in 2 bars, right? He rhymed. Typically, you would have heard 2 rhymes by now, right? At the end rhyme, but he rhymes twice before the rhyme is over. So, or rather, he rhymes twice before the bar is over. Yeah. So he's squeezing in more rhymes than your typical guy.
I think that's a lot of fan service too. Yeah. That's not him saying, "Oh, look, I could use this bar. I prefer this sequence of." I prefer this sequence of these 2 bars to end it off with. No, he'll actually be able to put all 4 into those 2.
Yeah.
And with the list to resign looks like a petition was signed. You describe that, and it's like, geez, Louise. Like everyone's just like, nah, I'm bouncing, bro. Yeah, I'm bouncing.
Yeah. Fire.
Sign it off.
Fire. And it's tight knit, man.
I like this one. You not in my league. My flow cold in the hottest degrees. Can seize and cause liquor the bottle to freeze. Oh, man.
And a lot of MCs. Wait, the follow up though. I mean, he started the next one with the same rhyme. Yeah. A lot of MCs, when they see me on the streets, try me, right? He goes into a new rhyme scheme, but he started that shit. You know what I'm saying? That's something Diabolic does. But Diabolic's dope with that.
He said in the hottest degrees, I'm still cold as ice.
Right.
Like, in the hottest
not in my
degrees.
league, right?
And you have to be that cold to make liquor in the bottle to freeze. Right. You've kept liquor in the freezer and it don't turn to ice. You have to get that thing cold. Yeah. I like so you get the contrast of all that.
Still
like
four.
That.
Still four.
A lot of MCs on the streets try me, but their only claim to fame is getting beat by me. Mm-hmm. Oh my God!
But if you recollect and did a background check of my past, I bet I wouldn't be at sound check. Like, come on, man! Like that shit right there is just it's cozy, man. Very very hard hitting. Punch in the face for the first track.
I'm glad this was the first track.
Perfect. This is a great first track because at that point I was like, oh. Skepticism is gone. I have no problem now. And then this actually got me to listen to everything consistently. I'm like, kind of brought me back to that point when I was listening to the first time.
Beat's hard too, man. The beat
goes hard. Everything about this shit, man. This shit go hard, man.
I've always Ayatollah's that main dude that we keep on that little freestyle mixtape that we keep in the car.
Yeah.
So it's Ayatollah's just keeping it consistent with this
cred,
one.
Man. I know this isn't his first joint. He gets some cred for this one for sure. Wordsworth. I always heard the name Wordsworth. Like always in the mix of hip hop, you hear of all the MCs, you hear Wordsworth. You know, I never really dived into Wordsworth though in his album or his tracks. I've always heard him here or there. Yeah. Never really knew about him or anything, about this dude's life.
Sorry to cut you off. Do you see any aspects of your own rhyming technique in his? Because he pushes a rhyme scheme so far.
A little bit.
Yeah, he tries to go for he'll rhyme something for almost 8 to 16 bars.
I was telling Mark when I was listening to Wordsworth, I was hearing like Eminem, Andre 3000. I was hearing Master Ace for sure. Too. A lot of cats I was hearing through him.
Cannabis.
Cool G rap.
Yeah.
There's a lot of guys you can pull out of
a fast rock him, like a really faster, like a much faster rock him. Yes. Are there rappers around? His
style's dope, man. I like his style.
And even
he's throwing fours again. Yeah. Rappers around. Whackers always has to get loud. Yeah. With a pack or a pile of cats all night, they hassle a hound. My crew, so they can try to battle me now. So here's a comparison to narrow it down. Dude. My delivery's by air and yours travels by ground. Cause lightning and flash thunder claps in the clouds. You can't counteract when you're under attack from the sound. Security won't tackle you down. Your neck will throw a lasso around. Hang your 2 feet from tapping the ground. As of right now, words are more anticipated than the patient waiting for a transplant match to be found. That is
was that 8 bars?
8 bars, and he's throwing that 4 everywhere. It's a 4-syllable swing back and forth, crazy, and it sounds like butter. And usually the typical is a 2 at the end. Yeah. You get a 2 at the end rhyme, and people say that's dope, right? But he's going hard, man. He's going for 4s, 5s, and more. And then to blend later, we'll get on the next track about it, but to blend storytelling with the rhyme schemes, that's difficult. But to blend the storytelling with the rhyme schemes with that metaphorical layer, that's difficult.
Yeah, because then you still have to have the variety of those same syllables to match up to what you're describing.
Yeah.
And to do that, you literally have to be a true wordsmith Right. And who better to be a wordsmith than a motherfucker named Wordsworth?
Yes. Right. I mean, shit.
And you have to be afraid of them on the freestyle.
Oh, like, absolutely.
If you catch them live, you got to be afraid. So, yeah, it's a double-edged sword there.
And to transition from what we got with right now, because we're basically at the end on that one.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask you, Andre, the way you were just kind of breaking down like the 4 count there, like, do you see, is that considered nowadays more like old ways of rapping now? Like, do we see a lot of people rapping like that as much now?
Okay, cadence is king. We're right now in the period of cadence, so it's more about how you sound when you do the patterns. Right, because his patterns are pretty much tonally consistent, right?
Right.
You know, rapping around. I have the 6 sound, right? I'm just adding, but he sounds consistent vocally.
Yeah.
Today, they want you to do inflections and almost sing when you rap, if you will. Like, they want your vocal tone to bounce and play around. Mm-hmm. Kendrick Lamar is a great example. Nicki Minaj is the best example, to be honest with you. Yeah. She sounds like a different woman every 4 bars.
Theatrical.
Yeah, she changes to another person completely every 4 bars to keep things interesting. Future, lots of plays on flows consistently. Migos, love to play off that triplet sound, but it sounds interesting. It keeps sounding interesting. So rhyme-wise, people aren't necessarily anchoring their idea to what they're rhyming, because your traditional and general listener doesn't understand that shit. If we play Elzai for somebody, they'll just say he sounds good. That's it. They won't know he's rhyming big sentences and shit.
Right.
The typical and general listener only feels that flow that they're doing. They'll hear that more than I'm the best in the live and I'm rapping it. I'm showing you guys it's a magic trick, right? Yeah. They don't hear that part. They hear the rhythm of it. So right now, he had the technology of the time. Rhyming was very important. Like, that was the move. And then I don't want to be wrong, guys. I'm sorry. Once we hit around 2010s, I think we rhymed everything you can conceive, and they started going for flows. They wanted things to sound really unique. So they started bending words and playing with words and flows and rhythms, and that became the anchor. So now we're seeing a lot of cats rolling backwards and going, I want to start trying some of these new rhyming tricks now. So we're seeing more rhyming tricks and more wordplay. But cadence is king right now. So as far as what we hear, it's dope for us because we're rappers. Yeah. But if I played this for a new generation, they're going to get bored because he's not playing around with how he's saying the words. Mm-hmm. The words got to, like we look for emotion when they're rhyming, right? Oh, my friend got shot, I'm sad, right? Yeah. Today, it's like, my friend got shot and I'm sad. He has to sing it. He can't say it directly. I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm not trying to be insensitive,
it'll detach
They got to sing it, They got to sing it out, or they have to perform it musically or rhythmically, right?
I get you.
Auto-tune or not, but... Yeah, this here is like he's perfectly bracketed with those cadences and patterns, and it sounds dope. The best example today, like I said, J. Cole. J. Cole is doing this right now. He sounds a lot like this, but J. Cole's rhyming 8s and 9s. He rhymed like a 14, I think. He rhymes some crazy shit. At
this rate, if J. Cole keeps going like this, man, I'm seeing him just rise, man.
Yeah, like especially with the fact he doesn't need features.
Yeah. And I say that meaning like, people were kind of putting him as like kind of the second best rapper out here right now.
Third. They call him the bronze medal.
Yeah.
J. Cole's the bronze medal.
But dude, I listened to him and I'm like, this dude's been spitting real stuff since he started.
But this new Cole, this new Cole, he trying, so he doing something different, man. I think he said Rihanna dropping that Fenty. I can't be up in here mopping up Wendy's. That whole sentence. Rihanna dropping that fit, and he did that scheme for 8 bars. He really went on that long ass rhyme, and he did the whole shit. So he knows what he's doing. But anyway, back to Wordsworth. Yeah. Wordsworth is he is that. As far as this period of time, man, we was all working on getting these patterns up. We were just like Eminem era.
That's what. Yeah.
We wanted them rhymes to be dense.
Yeah.
And what I noticed on this track is Wordsworth did the same thing that Elzai did on his first track, and Cannabis did on his first track. It's like they went really over, like they went way up here with it, but they didn't overwhelm you. The best example of somebody that will overwhelm you with the technique of a modern artist is Daylight. I'll play Daylight for you guys after this, and you'll see what I'm talking about. There are so many rhyme schemes and entendres that you just simply void your mind, right? Yeah. But my man Wordsmith, he's like a perfect digestible meal, bro.
Yeah.
He's digestible. Pause. So for 12 months, man, 12 months. I thought that just the journey, he's telling a story and he extends the story, not only referencing months and using them as layers, like on some jizza shit, right?
Yeah.
But he's actually telling a year-long story.
Yeah, and it's a dope story, dude. Because midway as you're going through the months, he's talking about the repetition of life. You know, you're getting kind of bored with life, and then in order to break that monotony, they're scheme. These two characters he's talking about are scheming to actually make money by the means of like plotting. You know, plotting to make money.
And then the big plot happens at the end of that year.
Right. Yes.
And they get shot, right, or something like that, or
they disappear.
Die.
They're gone. Yeah, they're gone.
The heist is completed and they're all gone.
They're gone.
Even the chorus was sick, dude. The way he was rhyming the chorus.
365 days.
Yeah, because he was breaking 4 seasons and breaking it all down to how many weeks and how many months.
But come on, that level of detail, man. I miss that level of detail, that much heart put into writing a song, man. We can't don't sound old. Modern day, we doing different things, but this period, he went for something. But remember, this is his first album, first project, so of course you're gonna put your soul on the first album. Right. And to me, 12 Months is that Nas type of song. I use Nas a lot, I'm sorry, but just the descriptive storytelling. Lyrics are gonna be hard to find.
They're not
gonna find those. But descriptive storytelling. And then utilizing names that are based on the months, and even just referencing the time periods too. Like February is the shortest month, but you still got to get your chicken. So it's like, but pattern-wise, every rhyme on this bitch.
He's all February, standing Jerry.
Yes.
Yeah.
something, Daryl Strawberry.
I realized Jerry was the character's name. No, the character's name, and he started using that.
Then he uses Ben and Jerry's, and then he went to Daryl Strawberry.
Larry to Derry.
Yeah, and it's just
it was a journey between two guys going through like, man, I got to do different jobs. One of them sold incense and soap. The other one sold satellite dish cable. Yeah. They ended up.
They took portraits and some other thing he described, like basically like from a museum kind of, like hustling from the poor to from the rich to the poor or something like that.
But it also sounds like they were referencing blueprints, so it's like it's like a heist. It's a scheme.
Yeah.
Ended up finding some guy that worked at Con Edison, which is their Edison out there. And ended up cutting the lights out of New Year's.
That's what I was. That's the New Year's.
Yeah,
you know,
the pandemonium and everything going on. Yeah.
So that to me, that's like reminiscent of. To me, the storytelling aspect of hip hop, but as
it's like
you
Ocean's
see
11.
Ocean's 11 for sure, man. Yeah. On the idea though, it's like an entire year. I'm gonna write a song about an entire year, and because it's like sick. I'm thinking of GZA's version of it, right? Yeah. And GZA would be like using January and February and May to March, and that shit. But hotter than July, or he would even go as far as making the character a Jew and saying like he wasn't telling the truth. I don't want to hear that July, right?
Yeah,
that's how GZA would have did it. But in this one, he wasn't bending and playing with the months like that. He just doing the word association. He
just kind of went into it. And next thing you know, you're like going.
He just had the events coincide with those months.
But that's it still works though.
Yeah, still providing descriptions of the weather.
And I think he was doing shit in like 4-bar intervals, right? So it was like January's 4 bars, or I think January's like 4, February's 4, and everything's like sectioned perfectly. As a writer, guys, I've been working with a lot of rappers. There is the modern rappers today, no structure. They don't know what structure is. They don't know it at all. So in this context, he probably mapped out 12 months and said, where can I put 12 months in the series of verses?
And then
he broke it all down.
Cap it all off at the end and have enough space to do that.
Well, so okay, my January bar's got to say this. My February bar's got to say this. Yeah. My March bar's got to say this. So he had to brainstorm it beforehand.
And think about the year. Think as he's going, like, what is he doing in January? What is
that's what I was going to ask you.
The punchline is the year, So
that's what I was going to ask you guys. Has there ever been an instance where you had a concept track and you, before you even wrote bars, you actually wrote, I would even just say the storyboard.
For sure.
Cartoons.
So there's the storyboard to it.
Yeah.
Me, so that's where I'm just like,
what was your concept track?
Not even, dude. I'm just like writing the bars straight up there. So I'm like,
you haven't had one where you thought it out and like one.
No, like I was literally just shooting myself in the foot. I guess now it's just like where I'm just creating it as I go. But now it makes more sense to where if you actually have something a little bit more structured, it's easier to then translate that to rhyme, because now you actually have all the think about creating a house. You have everything prefabricated to where like, I got the frame of the house, I got all the drywall here, so you know where you want to frame up. Versus me, I'm just like, okay, shit, I got all the wood here, I got all the drywall here,
and just starting from scratch.
I got to make it now here. Versus everything being all cookie cutter and just put it there off the jump. But that makes sense.
What about you, Andre? I know you've had.
I call it meal prep. It's called meal prep in my brain. So it's like, you know, you have to have all your foods cut up and everything's prepared before you start cooking everything. That's how I do my rhymes now. So, or I've been doing my rhymes like that forever. But cartoons and hero. Cartoons, I did all cartoon references from the 90s to a certain year, and I put them in order. So I had to write 80s cartoons, 90s cartoons, all the way down the list, and then put them in chronological order. And then the other one was hero with comic book characters. So I put all the heroes in order with the same type of abilities. Then we're gonna put Dre's.
We're gonna put his link.
So put hero. Put hero on there. They'll hear that one. But that process is different, man. It's like, okay, Batman. Now I have to write everything I think about Batman so I can make sure that he matches my story. And truly, it's ridiculous. But if you love to do it, you don't think about how much work it is, right? Yeah. You don't think like, oh, I did 5-6 pages of work, right? Yeah. Like MF Doom said the same thing. It's like, it's just a lot of writing. It's just a lot of research for no reason, just to make your punches land. So same deal. I do the same thing. I just brainstorm my shit, and I always teach people brainstorm, man. It's nobody's watching you write, man. Yeah. So just don't get in front of your paper and try to make a hit song from zero, right? Mm-hmm. I always tell them, what do you want to make, man? Set your path, GPS the shit. I always tell them, GPS it. Where are we going? What are you trying to accomplish? This track, 12 months, the concept is called 12 months. So the listener already has an idea of what we're about to experience. Right. Even as I was listening to it. Right. Yeah. Because when I was listening to it the first time, of course, I'm doing other things, and I'm also analyzing these other kids' songs. So as I'm doing that, I'm listening to him, and I'm like, I forgot. This is all months. Of course, it's 12 months, but then I heard him. I was like, oh, he's going to go through every month. Yeah. And as he's going through, I'm like, he's going to go through every fucking month. And then he got through it. I was like.
And it didn't come off as cheesy. It didn't come off cheesy, like that. Man. It was just, it was sick the way he played it.
It's almost like the 12 months are just the backdrop to the main action of the song.
The beat was hard.
But that's what I wanted to kind of put into perspective. The idea to me sounds like he brainstormed or put on paper before he started rhyming, I want to cover a year in a story. And then as he was covering the year, I think he was like, I wanted to, comment on what goes on every month as the story progresses. But as he did it, I felt like he found beautiful connections and made that shit seamless, bro.
In the beginning of January, he was talking about Jerry going on a ferry to Manhattan. Like, you can see it visually. Mm-hmm. Like, that was him starting off the year kind of depressed. Yeah. It was just.
Sorry. And tonally, I got excited as fuck. Sorry. Tonally, every season, the actions of the characters matches the season. Yeah. So the wintertime they're doing cold shit. So Halloween time. But I'm saying every season.
That's when they did the heist was during 4th of July because everybody was distracted looking at the fireworks.
Yes. So every aspect of the seasons were also highlighted through it. It felt like a Lupe track.
Yeah. And even at the end, he ends with the last lyrics, "A Happy New Year."
Yes.
New Year. I was like, yeah. So then it just cycles
365 is complete, and it's perfect, man.
And the way the chorus too, it feels like it's the world spinning because it's like.
I didn't even think about that, but yeah,
it feels like everything's just
spinning the rotations,
real fast.
Yes, man. So 12 months, solid for this period.
For me, for like a concept track, I did one for sure, like in the lab or back to the lab for me. Mm-hmm. And everything about that track is about a laboratory. The beat, I made it to sound like a laboratory. Mm. Every reference I do in there is about some sort of scientist of some sort. I mentioned even alchemist. It wasn't for no reason. I mentioned alchemist specifically because he is scientifically the name, right? I think I mentioned Breaking Bad. He's a scientist. I talked about Dexter Morgan. I talked about the professor from Nutty Professor. I talked about the professor from Wednesday or whatever.
Professor from And One.
Yeah, and what I was able to do in that was not only reference that, but also talk about the idea and the concept of going back in time to go back to the lab to finish what I started.
Yeah. Wait, so when you were making that though, when you were in your process, was it hard to connect your dots, or since you loved the song idea so much, it was easy to connect the dots?
I feel like, it was easy for me because things I just thought about, like when I was writing this, all these things started coming together because like I was watching Breaking Bad probably the year prior to that. So I just thought about it. I was like, Breaking Bad, man, that goes with laboratory scientists. Yeah. Like, let's throw that in here. Yeah. And I was just kind of taking things that were in my life that I have just referenced subconsciously and just brought them into that, and it all just came together.
That's real. I think it's like when you're in that creative flow, there's like a vortex, and all your ideas just land right in front of your face, and it's just your opportunity to catch them. If you believe the idea, it'll work, man.
And it feels so good because you had that idea in your heart and you were able to deliver it. Oh, there's no other better feeling than that.
And the fatigue is non-existent. Yeah. When you're writing like that and you actually feel the need to put what you have within your soul onto pen and pad. Yeah. You blink and it's 3 a.m.
Yeah.
And you're barely tired.
Yeah.
And there'll be times too, like writing for me, I'm not always the fastest, but I don't care. Like I'll take my time sometimes to get a rhyme. And sometimes I'm just like writing the whole verse within the 2-week span of going to lunch, driving to work. I'm thinking about it constantly. It's in my head. Yeah. And it just, once all comes together, man, it's just beautifully written.
This is exactly what you're talking about. This whole, this puzzle piece, like everything is already there for you. It already makes sense.
Pointing at the Star Wars puzzle piece.
This is entirely puzzle pieces. But the idea is simple. Every piece is already there and it already makes sense to your mind. You already have the S, you already have the S, you already have the R's. You're like, oh, I know what I have, and you can put it together. Yeah. And that's what it feels like, assembling a song that's a masterpiece. Yeah. Like it's already there for you, you know? Yeah. But in regards to great storytelling and songwriting, we could roll right into Run, because once again, we get another great concept for storytelling. Shout out to I'd like Guardian Angel as well. This was hard to get down to 3. It's hard to get down to 3.
I was telling the fellas that this track is very much like an adult, like man up type of track. Like a lot of it is introspective. It's about grown up. It's about grown up stuff.
It's about decisions though. It's about decisions. It almost it feels like 17. From Elzai we covered last week. It feels like 17. We're following the journey of this young lady, and she is making bad fucking decisions. Yeah. I mean, she simply is making too many bad decisions. But what makes this track original in my perspective is every verse is her journey. First verse is her mom's house and what she dealt with her mother. Second verse is her father's house and what she dealt with her father. And then the bridge, or the breakdown portion, is her family members rejecting her. Nobody want to deal with her.
No one wants to take her in.
And then we don't want that drama.
And then when we get to the final verse, she's with her grandmother, right? Yeah. And the grandmother's never going to give up on her grandbaby, but also it shows where she was trying to escape and she ends up getting caught, right? I just thought the way it wrapped up, the whole story felt like a movie, right? And writing words and making my mind see a film is difficult, especially nowadays. So yeah, this one right here, rhyme, styles, patterns, everything was on point, but every verse being a different place she ended up, and then the chorus actually building further off of what we have. Where are you gonna run next?
Now.
Right, where are you gonna run now?
So where you gonna run now? No more places to hide. So where are you gonna run now?
And then when we get to the next verse, she's landed. We know where she is, and the journey continues. But let's roll back to the first verse. I just thought, great storytelling. He wrote this shit like Scorsese, man. Beautiful.
Troublemaker in her teens, either lover or hater, seeks attention, makes a scene, whatever her mother takes her, curses her out.
Attitude worse than her mouth. Used to work in the South till her aunt there kicked her out. Now, I know that I always tell this, like, if you're going to be a storyteller, you don't have to rhyme them till they die, right? And even here, he's still rhyming you till he dies.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like, he's still going to hit you with it.
We honestly found the exception to the rule in Wordsworth, because if you're going to try to keep to that same concept, you have to be masterful at the English language to even find, words that even rhyme the same to describe different things. So it's even with behave and save. What was it? Behave and save. A crib and care. She'll have her own soon, but she's unappreciative. Gives all her credit to her dad. But the secret is her mom made her keep the kid. Doesn't go to school. Just another truant case. Trespassed out of school and slashed the student's face.
And now she's on the run.
Can't go home waiting.
Stuff, dude.
No, I mean, because she got a criminal case on the line now. But, once again, it sounds like 17, right?
Tries to run away from her problems, but they keep chasing.
But like you said, Andre, it feels like I'm watching a movie. Like the drama in here. There's drama in here.
Yeah.
That's what makes it more heavy. The storytelling.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
And there's no preachy. Like, some guys can be preachy, right? That waving the finger, don't be this person. Yeah. To me, it's just like, look at this picture. She's fucked up, huh?
Yeah.
And then we go to the next.
He's just giving you the scene. He's giving you the scene, And I think that's the beauty about all this is that he's just giving you the scene, and I think the ultimate response you can get from this internally is your own reaction.
True.
And this promotes individual reactions to where it's like you'll probably take it in more in some parts of the verse than I will. Like I dug the second verse than you probably dug, for example, verse 1 or 3.
Yeah, we'll take different
and Andre,
inspirations
like
from it.
you know, like it's just
Every piece does its own thing.
yeah.
That's
what I like about this track.
Opener in the second verse, I just like the wordplay. Pops up on her pop's porch.
Yeah.
But wait, the lead in is where you gonna run next, right? Where are you going to run now? Sorry. Where are you going to run now? But listen, where are you going to run now is the last thing you hear, right? And the following thing he says is Pops up. So Pops is up. He's next. Yeah. So where are you going to run now? Pops up. I'm going to Pop's house. So where are you going to run now? Pops up on her Pop's porch, right? So, of course, we got the double play of Pops up, but he's also saying she pops up on her Pop's porch.
Little gem
and then references back to his own internal thought. He was like, my little girl came to see me. Man, it's been a while. That's what her Pops thought.
Oh, dude.
So,
sick.
But then also, what? She's here with her Pops, and there's no rules here. She can be whoever she wants to be. Right.
At her Pop's crib, yep.
Thought of her mom being cruel, thought her father had set no rules, but
no,
he got his. Chores, mop up
Yep.
floors, then scrub the walls after 8, no noise, phone calls, no boys. Mow the lawn, wash the car and dishes, clean the kitchen, wake up, we exercise, your curfew was at 9. We gotta teach her how to drive, couldn't wait till her father arrived, right? Mischief only keeps her occupied, so she's still fucking up. She's still doing wrong, right? She's still making mistakes. And at the end, I mean, we're just gonna get to the
and what better point to have that reveal than in the middle of this verse. I just caught that right now. It's actually in the middle of the verse where the reveal is like she still wants to act trifling. Takes the key while we went golfing, drove, but not often. So referencing the golf on the golf drive, drove but not often.
Store wasn't that far. She could have just walked it, so she stole the car for no reason. But guess what? It could have been a quick trip. She hit somebody with the car. Now she's on run again, right? Yeah. So, I mean, that makes it worse, though. She went from slashing some chick's face to hitting somebody with the car.
Now she's on a hit and run, too.
And then a hit and run, literally
in 2 different states.
So where are you going to run next?
Cops drove asking, sir, do you own a Maxima? She was gone before they thought asking her. Damn.
Where you going to run now?
All
right, but yeah, the breakdown to me was like this point where I was like, he's a writer. And it's unfortunate that we didn't get shit from this dude until 2012 again. It felt bad. Like, wow. I mean, unfortunately, I wasn't a fan, so I get it. But calls her aunt upstays with the estate in the house that's by the lake. She said, I don't want that drama over here. Calls her ex-boyfriend that moved in Portland, Oregon to get away.
Stress rhyme drama down here.
Oh, he stresses hard. But he's gonna the first bar, he's gonna rhyme everything, and then the last one is just gonna land on the same thing. So I don't want that drama down here. They're gonna run that back and forth, right? Last call to her uncle, but he's unaware. He said, why don't you call your mom and dad? She's like, yeah, great idea. So that's dope, man. Whole city looking for her. Things escalated since the slashing in the head and the run in Brooklyn where they saw her. Changed her hairstyle now in Staten Island because she knows her grandma would never give up her grandchild. So she's staying with her granny.
Staten Island, grandchild.
Yeah.
And wait, look, Staten Island.
Yeah, all those little details.
New York rhymers got cheat codes. New York rhymers and European rhymers. Both of them can do anything they want with rhymes.
Because they can even end up using both type of accents. Well, the European ones anyway, but then with the New York twang, you could take R's deep.
Yeah. A Brit said, I could kill Napoleon Bonaparte with only a shoulder budge.
Yeah.
He killed Napoleon with a shoulder budge. But, they could do that. They can get away with that. Oh, it was like Joan of Arc and Napoleon Bonaparte with only a shoulder budge, right? But, you can get away with that. But as far as my man here, though, his technique is annoyingly consistent. And that's why I call him Benefit. No disrespect, though. But yeah, changed her hairstyle. She's a new person, right? Blind in one eye, barely could see who it was, and that's the granny he's talking about. Family always said they'll visit, but nobody does. So, it's kind of a sad story inside of itself because granny's alone, so she'll take her grandchild because she ain't got nobody with her any fucking way.
That brings me to a question for you guys. Do you guys have any family members that feel like this person?
I've seen it. Okay. I've definitely seen it. I got family out in, like I said, Buffalo, New York, and Tennessee. We've got people all over the place, Atlanta. And it's just how it is. We got a lot of people in one area, and they don't tend to fly out there. So that's just how it is, man. Unfortunately. So I know what this description feels like.
It's all the family in Roswell when I was out there. But the best part about it is if I'd ever walk in, the door's always unlocked.
Right.
The door was always unlocked. They got mad at me one time because like, who's locking this fucking door? I'm like, I am for our safety. But so yes, but the thing is that it's exactly like an unlocked door. It's like they're always going to be receptive to that.
It made me think.
Same thing with this grandma in this verse.
There's somebody around that I know that has a lot of things going on with them. A lot of like bad juju, and they hit up here and try to ask if they could stay here. And I found myself when I was busting up at this line because, man,
I don't want that drama
over here.
That's basically what we said. We're like, I don't want that drama around here.
Hey, but the grandma was she like this right here.
Yeah.
Does your mom know you're here, but really didn't care?
Yeah.
Right. She didn't care. She's just happy that you're like. If anything, because it makes you think of a person's loneliness, you know, and then generally that's just reality, you know. So her loneliness is being played out through this verse, but it's really still about this young lady that's fucking up. So delighted to see her catching up on things, trying to feed her. Ran out of sugar. I'll go to the store for you. Hands her the purse, but not without going in it first. Opens the door. Cops ambush her from the trees with rifles wedged in her temple, yelling "Freeze!" This shit is just. And right there.
So where you gonna run now? Run now. Then
and that's it. Out. And that's it. Cut and it's done, bro. Perfect, man.
Listen to mirror music. Not now. Right now. Right now.
Right now.
So yeah, if I could, I could put anything on it, man. Mirror music.
This album's almost 20 years old.
Yeah, but that's another thing.
But it don't feel like it.
It's a hefty album, guys. I kind of forgot. Older albums is they try to give you the Thanksgiving feast, man. They just try to give you as much as they can. 20 tracks on this album is pretty hefty today, especially with full length songs up to 4 minutes, 5 minutes. So if you got the patience for it, it's really good, man. It's very dense. I mean, to whittle everything down to 3, that's really difficult. Yeah. And then my heart breaks really, like it really breaks to see when you go on Genius, not even all the songs are covered. They don't even have the lyrics for all the songs. Yeah. So
I hope this gives really ground for a lot of people to actually listen to Wordsworth, because they've heard of, if they've listened to the Black Star album, one of the best tracks on the Black Star album is Twice in a Lifetime, and Words and Punchline is on there, and they have one of the best verses on that album, even including Talib and Mos Def.
Yeah. So Punching Words. I was listening to that before we started. Just that combination they're both dope.
It's like Wordsworth is the jab setup, and then literally Punchline is the hooks, the haymakers,
all hits.
Yeah.
I like the way Wordsworth does it too, because it feels like almost like he kind of takes his time with it and his delivery. It's like he's having fun with it a bit.
Samurai.
I love
he's
that.
A samurai, man.
Yeah, I love that. Like he's not afraid to you don't know which direction he can go. He could be so playful with it. He can go real with you. Like,
I think his
top-notch lyricist here.
Yeah, his versatility was greatly expressed on this project, man. And as I was just going through my runs on it, I was just like, fuck, man. It sucks to know that he's like an example of thousands of MCs.
Yeah.
This level of skill that's like, he's in the room and your favorite guys are fucking with him. Pause. Because like I said, Tone Deaf, we got to talk about Tone Deaf eventually. Just to have them paired up was dope. And then, him and Master Ace, they just sound like brothers to me. They really sound like they have the same kung fu, Ken and Ryu. But yeah, this project is 20 songs of like out of 20, I'll say 17 actual unskippable. Like you could really enjoy them. A few of them I just felt like dated beats or just concepts like, you're trying to market to women.
I forget what the one that I listened to, but the audio is really low on it. Like his vocals don't, like they barely sound like they're there.
Yeah. There's
I forget what track it is, but it's noted. It's something that like I was like, I have to adjust my volume on this or what. But
honorable mention on the track "Love" as well.
Love.
Because that one was
Evil.
I'm sorry. Yeah. Evil, but Love backwards.
Yes.
Dope
with
concept.
Master Ace. Master Ace is a feature on that
as well. So that track, listen to that one, because that one. I love a particular line when he starts playing with the us and trust and must. Like he starts going down the line with that beautiful, beautiful track. Also a deep concept too, because love itself. This is the concept of it. Love itself can be reversed or be used for evil.
Yeah, on the other side of it can be evil.
Yeah, So so he really kind of tackles what is love, and how does that fall in hip hop, and how do we use love? Yeah. So it's a dope track.
Would you guys? So I was the one to suggest this album to you guys. Now, what'd you guys think in the beginning? Like, were you, like the old, like I would say just the first impressions of Wordsworth. I want to make sure that if a listener's trying to get those first impressions, if we can put them
knocks
over
the door down, like Andre said, knocks the door down.
If you start with right now and you don't have a bias, that's the hard part.
People are gonna be like,
yeah. Without a bias in your mind, once you hear right now, then I think it'll give you the idea to listen to the rest of the project, because you're gonna get the idea like, oh yeah, he's punching, he's got punches, he's got rhymes and consistency, and it's consistent through the whole track. Right now, it's so good that it makes me want to listen to the whole project. Yeah. And then with the initial studying back then, I remember just knowing he had the style, but not keeping it in my head. But then when I ran it back, I was like, oh shit, yeah. Once I heard right now, it was good. And then Zay said something. He's like, once I got to Unity, I was like, yeah, this is tight. Unity is a very interesting risk he took on the album. I thought Gotta Be was dope. Oh, Gotta Pay, sorry. Gotta Pay was dope.
I think
that was Be a Man,
Be a Man,
Fast Lane, Point Blank, dude.
All those were good tracks.
Yeah. Very, very solid work here, man. To whittle it down to 3 is hard, but what we have is pretty good, man. So honestly, first impression, right now was perfect. Right now got me. And then it was just like, I got Nas, I got Master Ace. As soon as I heard, I was like, Master Ace. And then someone like, why do I keep saying Master Ace over and over, right? And I typed in Master Ace and Wordsworth, and I was like, oh, these are all, yes, I know who he is. That's how it happened. I was like, oh, okay, I know who this is. So yeah, Wordsworth to me, he kind of actually sits in that room with my favorite people. And he rhymes a lot like how we do. So, just the patterns, the concepts, and just layers, man. I love layers. So, yeah, fire shit, man. So, Mark got this one.
That was a good one, man. That was a good recommendation. For me, because, I heard his name. I never dived into him, though. So, being able to hear this.
This William Wordsworth guy is pretty good. I didn't know he rapped.
I'm in the wrong section. Looking at his old poetry. On his old poetry. That was the dopest MC.
That was the.
We're not talking about Williams Wordsworth.
That was the demolished the weakest MC lyrically. William Wordsworth.
Tis in thee.
I'll demolish thee till tis in thee are no longer thee.
I'm in the wrong century. Yeah, dope lyricist, guys. You guys got to check out Wordsworth, man. Definitely going to be in my rotation, listening to more of his other projects. I think his last drop was 2019.
Yeah, there's a 2019 effort in 2019.
As well.
But he's straight up now just a teacher. We just looked up the article now. Yeah. He's just teaching in Florida somewhere.
You know what? That actually brings up a cool, funny story. I heard that he's into video games, right? Mm-hmm. And that he was actually trading video games with Mos Def's brother.
Oh, and DCQ?
He didn't know.
Urban Thermodynamics?
They didn't know each other they didn't know who each other were. They just were from school. They just
so they were just chilling.
Oh,
so
that's the connection.
And then when Mos Def came around, and then they realized that, he goes, yeah, I'm Wordsworth. They're like, what? They were all just tripping out. And then, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Pre-internet life, yo.
Yeah.
Pre-internet life. Remember Mos Def's brother's DCQ from Urban Thermodynamics. That's cool, man.
So that's dope. Yeah, so.
Check out Photo Album from Wordsworth as well. That's his 2012 project. It's like a return to form. He's just back.
There's also a good song in Lyricist Lounge Volume 1 called Decipher with Punchline. And it's extremely... it's what Shakespeare would be quoted as saying, mad nice. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Tis mad nice.
Great. Thank you, Mark. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, man, it's one of my favorite albums to listen to.
Yeah, really appreciate the recommendation on this one. So if you guys haven't heard Wordsworth, check him out. There's some great lyricism here. You're gonna thank us. Just now, that is for sure. That one did it for me as well. When I heard that, I was just like, okay, all right, we got something here. Yeah. I love what we've been building off of. Elzai, Wordsworth. I don't know what's going to come next, but I know it's going to be good.
It's going to be fly.
Yeah. So thank you guys for supporting us. We are going to be dropping every Monday. We just want to say thank you for the support, and we're going to keep doing this and journey on to the next album. See you guys later. Peace.
I love you.